Hello, hello, Jess. How you doing? All right, let's go ahead and take a look. Thank you so much for including your work. I like to bring my green galaxy, my grave here. That's okay. It happens. I get it. Looking forward to seeing much feedback. Speaking of text message. All right, let's go take a look. I've got the work up here so we don't have to keep scrolling. That's beautiful. All right, let's go take a look. All right, the good thing is that you're making the right moves. What you're doing is you're trying to create a connection with Hemingway, specifically some of his more famous work, and the message making that you're creating on the front of the poster. And that's good. That's exactly what we're after. Now, the issue that I'm having, well, first of all, I want to go back to your writing and I want to mention something here. Like, what you want to do in this situation is this. This is the equivalent of submitting this work to your creative director or your art director for approval and or recommendations, right? So what you want to do is you would never submit a piece for approval without describing the intent, right? That makes sense. So we need to know the intent here. I mean, that's what I'm after. I'm after what is your thought process here? How did we get from I'm going to do a poster on Ernest Hemingway as my laureate to this state right here? I think I know how and I know where, but I think it's just so important for students to be able to express their intent that I would recommend that you go ahead and give us your intent here, your foundational conceptual intent. All right, back to the work at hand. As far as typography goes, I don't want to talk about typography that much right now because I want to talk about message making first. Now, there's a couple of issues I'm having. Like, number one, I just can't figure out why this is on such an extreme angle. I just don't see any conceptual or visual reasoning for doing so. If there's not a reason for doing something, don't do it. That's how design works. We don't make decisions unless they are conceptually tied. Now, I realize that my critiques are getting more and more complex as the weeks go on, and that should be expected because as we work towards a greater degree of knowledge, I don't want there to be any surprises when you get into your first studio job and you're getting these requests for designer's intent. And so let's circumvent that right now and say that you always want to describe your intent before you or while you're presenting the work. It's really important. So I would like to know why the background color, why the color for the typeface, why this typeface as a choice, why the fishing rod, why the diagonal, why the combination of colors. All right. Now, that said, I will take what we have and I will describe this. Right now, you are making all of your message making is based on illustration. All right. This is a typography class. We've learned about things like visual substitution, visual continuation. We've learned all sorts of little tricks, and I want you to start employing them. However, and here's where it gets tricky, this is a typography class, so we want all of our communication to be made typographically and not illustratively. Right now, the main message here is being delivered illustratively. Nix that, let's go for typography. Let me give you an example, and let me see what you think. All right. So we have Ernest Hemingway. Okay. Now, now, gosh, I don't know how. I'm just gonna put this out there. Okay. So let's say we do this. We need to simplify things. Really, really simplify things because the one thing we know about design, simplicity works. All right. If you can say something in 2 words, do it instead of saying it in 30 words. I'm using that metaphorically, but if you can say fishing line, fishing hook, fishing, if you can allude to fishing typographically, do it. The viewer will get it. The viewer will appreciate it. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's go to the project. Let me see, Jessica. I know you looked at this. Yeah, there you are. Okay, yeah, you looked at it for sure, right? But look at it again and then look at it again. But what I'm after is this right here. Okay, so this right here. All right, this is message making typographically. It's an illustration, but it's being used to replace the O in Tony, right? That's important. That's message making. As opposed to having Toni Morrison and then a big fist over here with a chain hanging over it, that would be illustrative. Okay, and then this is continued onto the back into the timeline. It's just spectacular work. Let's shoot for something like that. Okay, let's shoot for somehow saying fishing line, fishing rod using Ernest Hemingway. One quick example would be to do something like this to maybe make the top of the T kind of cross over here a little bit and then having a little string coming off of it and trying to make that look like the fishing line. You see what I'm saying? But that way you're creating message typographically. You're not force feeding the viewer saying, okay, this is the message, boom, right here. No connotation here. This is all, this is all kind of denotative messaging, right? What we want to do is we want to create a little bit of a connotation, force the viewer to think, force the viewer to understand what that relationship is between the typographic, or how somehow you work in typographically the notion of this deep sea fishing thing, right? Okay, cool. Next comment. Do not stroke your type. That's something you never want to do in typography. You never want to stroke your type. The reason is because even if when you stroke a type, it gives you a choice. You can lay the stroke on the center of the contour line, the outside of the contour line, or the inside of the contour line. Doesn't matter which one you pick, it's going to change the shapes of the letter forms and the negative space around the letter forms. It's not good practice. I haven't stroked letter forms. I take that back. I sometimes do it on screen, where it's somewhat acceptable, but it's just something that most professional designers stay away from in print. Okay, those are my comments. Those are my recommendations. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. But let's go ahead and work in that regard. And yeah, so yeah, let's see where we go. Sit back, kick back, pour yourself a cup of coffee, think about it, think hard. It'll come to you. Okay, and definitely, most definitely, you want to take a look at this again. This examples deconstructed announcement. All right, cool. Thank you so much. Great start. And let me know if you have any questions.